A statue in tribute of Maggie Walker was unveiled Saturday in Richmond, Virginia.
In Jackson Ward.
All right, folks, the 10-foot bronze statue of a 45-year-old Maggie Lena Walker standing tall was revealed at a ceremony honoring her 153rd birthday in the heart of downtown Richmond. Known as a civil rights leader and entrepreneur, Walker was the first woman bank president of any race to charter a bank in U.S. history. So certainly congratulations to all the folks there in Richmond for making that possible again. So people will always remember who Maggie Walker was. Newly appointed Mississippi municipal judge Carlos Moore knows how to make a first impression. Not only did he take the bench in Clarksdale, Mississippi as its first African American, on his first day in office, he removed the Mississippi state flag from his courtroom, a flag that he abhors and one that has been the subject of fierce debate in the state for decades. The flag is the last of its kind in the United States to contain the Confederate symbol on it. Many Mississippi residents say it amounts to state-sanctioned racial discrimination and is a painful reminder of the Confederacy's historic fight for slavery. Joining us right now via Skype from Clarksdale, Mississippi, is Judge Carlos Moore. So, Judge, describe what actually happened. Did you simply, when you walked into the courtroom, what did you do?
Roland, on Tuesday, I took the bench for the first time, and immediately upon walking into the courtroom, I noticed that flag of treason sitting behind the judge's bench. And I knew immediately I would take it down as soon as court was called to order. So the bailiff brought me in, I took the stand, and I told the court the first order of business was to take down that flag. I ordered for it to be removed, and the bailiff, a black police officer, took it out. He dragged it out the courtroom, and everyone saw it in open court.
Were any folks shocked and stunned by your action?
They were pleased. The majority of the courtroom, probably 95% of the courtroom, that they were African Americans.
Did you plan on doing this? Did you, or was it a visceral reaction the moment you saw it?
I knew that if I saw it, I would do it. I did not know for certain that the flag would be in there, but as soon as I saw it, I knew that was going to be my first action.
As somebody who speaks all across this country, I recall speaking at a university here in Virginia. I can't remember the university right now, but it's actually it's Lee. Is it Lee and Mary? It's a school that was merged and involves wherever one of these Confederate traders is buried.
Washington and Lee.
Washington and Lee. And I can tell you, I referenced it during my speech, and here we are in this chapel area. He's buried in that particular place. The flag is behind us, and I can tell you, I was not even remotely comfortable speaking, and I kept alluding to it during my speech and trash it as much as I possibly could. And like you, I wish I could have removed it from that venue. And I don't think white folks understand that this flag was furled after the Civil War. Lee said, "Store it in your attics. It is a flag of treason." And it was only unfurled in 1948 in Mississippi when they had the States' Rights Convention. Judge?
Yes, that's correct. And so it's clearly a flag of white supremacy. The state is endorsing slavery, the period of slavery, and it's past time for the flag to go. And so I'm glad that we took it down.
You've gotten death threats.
Yes.
Folks have been trashing you on Facebook.
Correct, multiple death threats. And so I have hired private security. I had security at the house last night. We're taking our safety very seriously, and we're going to go forward. I mean, the good police officers in Clarksdale will protect me, and then I also have reinforced that with private security. So we're going forward. It's a new day in Mississippi, and should they come to my courtroom, they will get more justice.
Have you heard from state officials, any folks, ordering you to restore the flag in your courtroom?
That has not occurred. It will not occur because there is separation of powers. The judiciary is an equal branch of government, and the judge has the authority to run his courtroom like he wants to do, and that is what I've done, and there's nothing illegal about it.
So the only flag that is in your courtroom right now is the American flag?
That is correct.
All right. Judge Carlos Moore, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Stand strong. We know Anjanou Ellis, of course, a native of Mississippi, has been on this campaign to get this flag changed. But unfortunately, too many people there in Mississippi want to hold on to it. And as you already know, and for the people out there who don't know, Mississippi desperately wants to hold on to this history because the senior senator in the state of Mississippi still uses the desk of Jefferson Davis. That shows you how today the senior senator, Judge, in Mississippi in the United States Senate purposely uses the desk of Jefferson Davis.
And I did not know that. That is very offensive, and it needs to change.
All right, Judge, we appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Roland.
Go to my panel real quick here. Again, for people who say get over slavery, that thing ended long ago, when you still have that senator, the senior senator, using the desk of Jefferson Davis, when you still have those Confederate statues in Statuary Hall here in the United States Congress, these are folks who still want to hold on to white supremacy, white power.
They claim it's historical relics and that we should cherish this country's history no matter how good or bad it was. But I think these people need to wise up and understand that there are Americans who felt lesser because of that, because there were a whole colored population that was made to feel like lesser Americans. What these people don't understand is that still in 2017, that affects the psyche of people, and we can't have any second-class citizens in this country. So I think it's time for a new generation of leadership in Washington on both sides of the party. Both sides of the aisle. Both parties need fresh blood in Congress. And when we get a younger, fresher generation of leadership, they're going to understand these issues won't even be issues anymore.
Here's why I would have to disagree with you with that. Cleo, please come in, because Jim Crow had grandchildren.
That's right.
And Jim Crow will have great-grandchildren.
Sure.
And Jim Crow will have great-great-grandchildren. And what we continue to see is we see individuals who want to protect that legacy, and that's a fundamental issue that we're facing here, Cleo.
Yeah, I thought about that when the attorney was speaking earlier, when he said these guys who were placing the drugs and came from the old school. Well, a lot of people have been murdering these young men have been young. The young man was murdered who went to Bowie State recently, and who was stabbed at the bus stop and was murdered by a 22-year-old. So I think it's important that we understand that that legacy is not gone at all. The alt-right is made up of pretty much young people in terms of its leadership. But I was glad to hear that the judge has security, because what came to mind when I heard about him snatching down that flag was that the murder of Judge Salam in New York and the murder of the prosecutor in Florida. And I was going to ask the judge to stay away from water, because that's where they found those two powerful legal figures wound up in the ocean.
Shelley, go to my iPad before I go to Amber. Go to my iPad. Folks, this is the statue of James Zachariah George, which is one of two statues in Statuary Hall in the United States Congress. Okay? It was placed there by Mississippi in 1931. He was a Confederate colonel during the Civil War. Served on the Mississippi Supreme Court, was chosen Chief Justice, but that's one of the statues that represents Mississippi in that hall, a Confederate colonel, Amber.
White folks know exactly what they're doing.
Yes.
They made themselves God. Like, they want to make sure they are overrepresented in history. They didn't just make black folks and people of color feel a certain way. They murdered us for this flag, which is why he called it a rebel flag, a treason flag. Black people continue to be the true patriots of this country, and I'm glad he took it down. It's the minimum of what I need to show up to this job every day. I want the flag removed, and let's get some other changes going on in here.
Shelley, go back to my iPad. I'm about to go to break right now. Again for folks out there, and all you have to do is go to aoc.gov. This is the other statue representing the state of Mississippi in Statuary Hall. It is of Jefferson Davis, who was the president of the Confederacy.
We need to make
one of the greatest terrorists, one of the greatest individuals in history who opposed this country. So if you are black and live in Mississippi, when you come to Washington, D.C., when you come to the nation's capital, and you go to the U.S. Congress, and you go through that hall, and you're seeing the two statues representing your state, both of them are of Confederate leaders. That's why the judge took that flag down, and that's why Mississippi still is stuck in the backwaters celebrating racists and white supremacists like these individuals.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no.
That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false.
You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.